is not an exaggeration to say that Caitlin Clark has changed the WNBA for good. Her electrifying game has brought in more viewers to the women's game than ever before. Along with the views, the league has been flooded with new sponsorship deals and other business revenues. In just one short year, you could argue that Caitlin is the most impactful women's player of all time. Not only has she broken record after record on the court, but she has also changed the way that the league operates. And by the end of this video, you will see what Caitlin Clark just did is completely insane. The WNBA has seen an increase in attendance, merchandise sales, and advertiser interest. On top of that, there has been an increase in social media posts and media coverage of league games, bolstering the league's growing popularity. Indiana Fever has seen dramatic increases in ticket sales and prices since Caitlin entered the league. The average price of a ticket to a Fever game is now $144, which is up 133% from last year. That is incredible. The get-in price for the Fever's home opener against the New York Liberty on May 16th was $487. Additionally, tickets for the draft in Brooklyn, New York sold out within 15 minutes. Now, before Caitlin, you wouldn't have a hard time getting a ticket, but now you have to queue in line early in the hopes of nabbing a seat. And what was even crazier was the fact that teams and resellers were jacking up prices for games against the Indiana Fever before Caitlin even made her debut. As a result, the WNBA recently signed a new media rights agreement and will be adding 4 new franchises in the upcoming years. Prior to Caitlin entering the league, the average resale ticket price was $50, but now it's $87. The average purchase price for Indiana Fever road games in 2024 is $108, which is 151% more than the $43 price from 2023. The purchase price for most teams entering the 2024 season is generally higher when they play the Fever than their average games. TickPick has sold 222% more tickets for WNBA games this year versus this time last year. In 2024, attendance increased by nearly 50% from 2023. The average attendance was up by double digits for all 12 franchises. Indiana led with an average home attendance of 17,035 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, a year-over-year increase of 319%. Indiana's regular season finale in Washington set a league attendance record with 20,711 spectators. Caitlin can also be thanked for that. TickPick has already sold 86% more tickets for Fever games than it did for all of the 2023 season. So clearly, Caitlin is the face of women's basketball, no matter how hard her haters try to deny that fact. As the saying goes, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. And what the numbers are saying is that Caitlin's WNBA is completely different than the previous iteration. For the regular season nationally televised WNBA games averaged 657,000 viewers, the highest audience in 24 seasons. Televised games with Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever averaged 1.18 million viewers compared to 394,000 for all other games. 22 games averaged over 1 million viewers, 19 of which involved the Indiana Fever. The previous high had been in 1998 when 15 games averaged over 1 million viewers. Now, the ratings highlight of the season was the WNBA All-Star Game, in which the WNBA All-Stars defeated the U.S. Olympic team 117-109. The game aired live on ABC on July 20th and averaged a record 3.44 million viewers. By comparison, last season's All-Star Game, another primetime contest, averaged 850,000 viewers. So we should have seen this trend coming. Clark's selection with the #1 overall pick helped catapult the WNBA draft to record TV ratings. The 2024 edition of the event crushed the previous viewership record. An average of 2.45 million fans tuned into ESPN for the event, and the peak reached 3.09 million. That number marked a 4-fold increase from the 2023 draft, which averaged 572,000 viewers. The largest audience before 2024 came in 2004 when Taurasi was drafted #1 overall out of UConn. The 2004 draft averaged 601,000 viewers. So no wonder Taurasi took shots at Caitlin off the court. She was clearly jealous that Caitlin is taking over. The draft also became the most viewed WNBA event since 2000 when the Liberty played the Houston Comets in a May contest. Caitlin's highly anticipated WNBA regular season debut, perhaps unsurprisingly, broke ESPN's WNBA viewership records. Before this season, the WNBA had no game with more than 1 million viewers since 2008. The Indiana Fever rookie scored 20 points as 2.1 million fans watched across ESPN2, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus. It was the most watched WNBA game on any ESPN platform in history. The Fever-Sun matchup peaked at 2.3 million viewers. This mark broke the previous record set on May 22, 2004, when Diana Taurasi played her second career WNBA game. So there goes another one of Taurasi's records. The most watched regular season game was between the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky, with first-year WNBA rivals Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. With Chicago defeating Indiana 88-87, the game aired on ESPN on June 23rd and averaged 2.35 million, the most watched WNBA game in 23 seasons. The previous week, another Indiana-Chicago matchup on CBS averaged 2.25 million viewers. The rising tide lifts all boats, and Caitlin is that tide. For example, the Las Vegas Aces moved their July 2nd game against Caitlin from their home to a larger 18,000 capacity venue. They originally planned to play their first 5 home games at Long Beach State due to renovations at their usual stadium. They moved a trio of contests, which includes a May 24th meeting with the Fever from the collegiate facility, back to the arena they share with the NBA's Lakers. In fact, the Sparks, Las Vegas Aces, Washington Mystics, and Atlanta Dream moved home games against the Fever to larger arenas to accommodate public interest in Clark. Her game against the Mystics was moved to the Capital One Arena and had an attendance of 20,333, the most for a WNBA game since the 2007 WNBA Finals, and the 5th most for a regular season game. What is even crazier is that the WNBA commissioner announced that Toronto will have an expansion team for the 2026 season. So all of Canada seems to be indebted to Caitlin, because this type of expansion would be impossible if the popularity of the sport was not on the rise. All 4 networks that televise WNBA games reported strong year-over-year audience increases. ESPN averaged 1.19 million viewers, an increase of over 170% from 2023. ESPN, ABC, and ESPN2 all televised their highest-rated WNBA game of all time in 2024. The 8 games televised by CBS averaged a record-high 1.1 million viewers, an over 86% increase from last season. What Caitlin has done for the WNBA cannot be replicated. She has essentially made it a mainstream sport. The first 4 playoff games aired opposite ratings juggernaut NFL. By far and away, the highest rated game of the day was between the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun, which, despite a lopsided win by Connecticut, averaged 1.84 million viewers on ABC. The WNBA playoff game was the most watched since 2003. By contrast, the 3 remaining playoff games had averaged 394,000. The second Indiana-Connecticut playoff game aired on ESPN and averaged 2.5 million viewers. The game was the most watched WNBA postseason game of all time across ESPN platforms. And what is even more incredible is that her appeal extends far beyond the basketball court, as evidenced by her lucrative brand deals with industry giants such as Nike, Gatorade, Xfinity, State Farm, and Buick. Glossier showcased their products by posting a reel of Caitlin's makeup application on Instagram, and Glossier saw a remarkable 71% increase in video views over the last 30 days. Caitlin rocked a Prada outfit for her draft day. Afterward, Prada saw a staggering 140% increase in mentions during the week of the WNBA draft, highlighting the effectiveness of their collaboration with her. Another sizable increase was in merchandising sales. In the first half of the 2024 season, there had been an increase in WNBA merchandise of 500%, with sales of players' t-shirts and jerseys up 1,000%. The top-selling players were rookies Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Overall, Fanatics report sales of Clark merchandise ranked 5th in sales among all athletes. Now, Caitlin is also setting records in the endorsement sphere. She signed a $28 million U.S. contract that spans 8 years and includes a signature shoe. The new deal would be the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player. WNBA advertisers increased by over 60% in 2024. The number of total advertisers is now approaching 150 and includes such product categories as automotive, insurance, and computer software. Besides being sold out for this year's postseason, Disney said for the 2025 season, upwards of 85% of its commercial inventory has already been sold. Since 2022, Disney's WNBA ad revenue had increased by 641%. Perhaps the biggest change was with the chartered flight. The WNBA commissioner unveiled a league-wide charter program for the 2024 and 2025 regular season.